Okay, welcome everyone. It's Thursday, November 17th. My name is Phil Anthony. I am the ICC Digital Code Specialist working with our Digital Codes premium products. And today we will do this overview of the Digital Codes premium platform, walk through some of the features, answer any questions that you may have. While I'm presenting, feel free to post questions into the chat or the Q&A, and I'll pause every once in a while to check to see if I can address those questions while I'm doing this. And the actual presentation probably will only take about 30 to 40 minutes here, so we'll leave time for questions. I'll unmute the microphones at the end there if people want to ask specific questions as well too. Okay, the Digital Codes Premium platform, and as you hear me say Digital Codes Premium, what I'm referring to is the actual platform that has these features I'm showing you on the screen here. The word premium doesn't necessarily attach to any of the types of subscriptions or collections that we have available. It just all the single titles, collections, and the complete are on the premium platform, and we'll have these features that we're seeing here. Including that we do have the ability for the mobile app. You see the number of titles up there. We have over 1,300, actually closing in on 1,400 this month in the Digital Codes Premium Complete. And as I mentioned, the platform will allow you to be able to copy paste, create notes, highlight, organize your notes, and collaborate with those notes you're creating, the bookmarks. You'll also have the ability to use the advanced search functionality. And as I mentioned, there's ways to either have the license be individual or to share licenses in a group where you can collaborate in there as well too. And you see mentioned here at the bottom of the 14-day free trial if you're interested in seeing these features after the presentation. And those two icons there also on our homepage. While you would have an active license during that free trial, you'd have access to you download the apps at no charge and try those out as well. And it really is a free trial. There's no credit card needed. It's just an easy registration to create an account. All right, so as you get into the platform and are looking through it, you'll see all the different titles we have available. The free trial is to the complete, so you'll be able to see all the different types of titles that are in there. And just to kind of clarify, and we do have single titles if you're only interested in one specific digital book. For example, like the IBC would be a single title. We also have collections. Using that same example, IBC would be in the collection of iCodes. We can get that specific collection. And nice thing about having this content on the digital platform is that you'll have access to the previous cycles as well. So in the iCodes, the 2021 cycle will be presented and first and available to you, but you can always go back through many of the previous cycles if you want to reference those as well too. And then the third type of subscription that we have is the Digital Codes Premium Complete, and that will include all the titles that we are able to include on that subscription at no extra charge. As I mentioned, there's about almost 1,400 titles there now. We also have a lot of content from many of the organizations. Some of them, you can see the logos that are listed here. You're going to have the ability to be able to access, obviously, the iCodes reference many different kinds of standards. Some of them we have in the complete format where you're able to make the notes and copy paste. Other ones may be in a read-only format. But as we expand our our platform there, the content, so we continue to add more of these on without needing to, it just comes with the subscription. So if you have the annual or 3-year subscription, as we continue to add new titles, you don't have to request them or anything. If they're included in complete, we will put them into your platform automatically, so you'll have access. So as I mentioned, the 3 different types of subscriptions they can have, the singles, the collections you see on either side, As I said, we try to make it easy for you to jump in with just the specific content that you're interested in. We'll mention now as you start adding, multiple titles or collections together, you're probably going to get close to what the same cost that the premium complete would be. So definitely, as you're surveying which subscription works best for you, consider that because that will give you the most titles for the price of the license. And we do offer several discounts. First thing I'll mention is that if you're an ICC member and you're signed in to your account, it will display this discounted pricing you can see here. So the second type of discount are the quantities, and you see we make these price breaks at lower numbers to allow people to easily add on the license even if you don't have an extremely large organization. So you definitely would save money by adding multiple licenses on in your single purchases. And then you see at the bottom there also is a price discount for going with the 3-year plan as well too. I will mention that we also do have an enterprise platform. As you can see, people ask about the enterprise pricing, multiple, licenses. I did kind of mention those and go through there, but we also do have a separate platform. Probably works best for organizations that are trying to manage larger numbers of users, maybe 25, 50 and above. It is the same look and feel of the platform that I'm going to demo here right after this, but there's a little bit more administrative features in there where you could load people up, load those 50 people, those users in with just a spreadsheet of their names and email addresses. And the other major difference here is that it's not an enterprise license for each user. It would be a dedicated seat. So a seat would cost the same amount as what a license would. But for those organizations that don't want to share licenses and their users would need dedicated access, enterprise may be an option to go. And these are questions, and like I said, at the end of this, I'll post my email, or you'll see that on the last slide. If you got specific questions on how you can integrate the code DCP into your organization, I will be happy to have an individual conversation with you as well. So as I just switch screens here, what you will see now is our Digital Codes website. So let me sign out first just to show you a couple features here. So all of our codes, the digital codes do reside at this website. It's a separate website than our regular ICC safe.org. This is codes.iccsafe.org. So as you can see here, I'm not signed in. And the digital codes green logo over here indicates that you will be able to access some of the codes actually at in a free basic view. For example, you'll have access to the I codes. And I do mention this because as you get this for your organization or jurisdiction or department, if you're looking to share code information with people who may not have access or have a license to this, there are titles that you could still share links with them and be able to view that as well too. So I'll just select all the I codes. And as I mentioned before, you can see you're presented with the 2021s first of all, but we do go back and have digitized several previous cycles that you could have access to as well. But if I just would select, for example, the IRC for 2021, you can see it opens up. You do have the ability to search through individual code sections. In the index over on the left-hand side here, you can expand out the sections and the chapters, subsections as well too, and you could jump right in at any point. So as I mentioned, I'm not signed in, but you can see that I am, viewing this the IRC code section. So, you can scroll through and use this. The features that I mentioned, like being able to copy, paste, or make notes, aren't available. But as I sign in with my account, you're going to see a couple changes occur. And as it accepts my account information, it does change to my name up there. This does indicate in those gold diamonds what type of license you have. I work for ICC, so I do have a staff that has access to everything. But if you got the complete, it'll show complete there. And then if you notice over here, the logo changed from just the plain digital codes to the digital codes premium, which has the features that we'll go through now as well. So in the same code section, as you can see, a couple things happened here. A few logos popped up on some of the code sections. I'll go through and explain those next here, but just to show you then also, we now have these waffle icons over here that can expand out. And I guess I'll make a note here, or I did make a note, but you can see that I have logged in and created a note here before. So if you or if you're sharing license in a concurrent group and collaborating, any notes that were created in this title would occur right there as people are scrolling through. This is a purple highlight, not that great of a color to use, I guess, in that, but you can choose any specific color. And if you want to hide notes that may occur as you're viewing them, you can hide them as well too. But what I'll do is let me choose a different chapter here first, so it's all clean. So what I have here now, if I expand out, we call that the waffle icon over there with those 9 squares in it. So these first 2 icons, one will be the highlight icon, one will be the bookmark. They will each open up a note dialog box. As you can see, I did leave this highlighted and selected the highlight, so it will make this highlight on there. I could create custom tags. You can create a new tag. Reason why you might want to do this is so that you are able to organize your notes. It could be for a specific property address, commercial building, whatever you may be working with, but you would have the ability to create custom notes within here, and it is a really strong text editor where you're able to, italicize, bold, strike throughs, create bullet lists, even add media or any types of files in here as well too. So as I save this and scroll down, you'll see that I was able to, create that. There, now the note is saved. And as I mentioned before, both the bookmark and the highlight will do the same thing there as well too. Open up that note dialog box. Actually, I skipped over this feature here, which is probably the first thing that everyone loves seeing. If I had highlighted this, I can now copy and paste this into another document, whether it be a Word document, an email. Once I have it highlighted, I can Control C, Control V, put it into a different document. So having the Digital Codes Premium license does open that ability to copy and paste. This next icon here is a share this section link. And if you wanted to use this email editor, you could, just to let you know though, if you enter the email address of the person you want to communicate this to, it will come from ICC in case they may not be expecting that. Some people will just use that copy URL button there. And as you can see, the link is now copied to the clipboard. But here's an example where you could, create any custom message that you wanted to send to this person. This link here will be included. And what would happen is you could send this, that person will receive the link, and even though they do not have a Digital Codes Premium license, since this is a iCode model title, when they click on the link, it'll take them to this website in the basic view so they could see the exact code section that you may be referencing in that email. And obviously they will not see your notes or anything like that, but kind of convenient where they'll be able to reference the exact code section you're referring to and any of the other code sections, in that same title that may be of help to the message that you're sending to them. The final, let me choose a different section here. The other, scroll down a little bit to get subsection. This print icon allows you to print or save this section in kind of like a PDF format. You obviously can't do that for the entire book or the whole chapter, but it will allow you to select just a section or subsection. So if I choose the subsection choice, it will create this PDF with those subsections in there. It's Nice formatting. You can see that it has the, International Code Council there as a copyright, so people will know that it is the authoritative source. And you actually have two options from here. You could, print this out if, someone comes in the office and you wanted to print it out for them, you could do that. You could also download this. I do have Adobe Acrobat, so I could download this to my desktop and save it as a file where you could mark it up or make any other notes on it. So that's kind of inconvenient where you can both print or save it, that code section, as a PDF as well in that format. While I'm here, I'll also point out, I did go through all the icons here just to verify that, but with DigiCodes Premium, there's so much more content that we can add onto this. Let me show you the legend information, I guess, first before I pull up some of those. There will be sections here in the iCodes that will have blue text and that will indicate a change in the code section from the previous cycle of the model codes. There are also, we have access, and I'll go through our categories of titles that we have. The state amended codes, changes from the model codes will be shown in a red text, and city and local amendments would have that fuchsia. These other icons you may come across here that would indicate, that margin icon with deleted sections. I just went through all of these icons that are in the waffle there with those features. And then these logos that I'll give you an example of when I close this screen here, but just to give you a quick run through. The ES are evaluation services reports. So ICC has the evaluation services division that will evaluate products and create those reports. So products that are related to that code section, if we have those in there, those would be accessible. Errata is kind of self-explanatory there if you want to see the specific errata for that code section. And then additional premium materials could be several other types of content, but the SIG changes, code interpretation, revision history will be there. There's also going to be code development process hearings, which is that videos of those, which is that final icon here, the CDP. So as changes are being proposed to each cycle of the model codes, those proposals will be there in their entirety. And as I mentioned, some of those may also have videos that go along with them as well too, of the hearings as they're happening. So there's an example of the CDP process. You can see it's going to give the overview, the scope, the impacts, and everything. So you can read, if it's a code section that you're referencing here, this will give you the ability to see what changes are being proposed in future versions as well too. And then there's the ES reports that are accessible. See if I can scroll and find a premium icon real quick. So there's the revision history and then the hearing videos. I won't obviously play this whole thing, but I'll just open it up. As I said, it's kind of interesting. If you're following that, you can see exactly how those are being presented at the code hearings. All right, let me circle back and continue on. I was showing you how to create notes, but I'll show you kind of how powerful that can be as you're moving forward. Obviously, you can understand that you can, share different notes if you're using the same concurrent group from the team's perspective. And in this title, I clicked over from the code sections to the orange My Notes, and you can see all the notes that were created in here. So you could jump specifically right to that section where there is a note and be able to jump right to it. If you end up having hundreds of notes, you could use those project tags to filter out and be able to view just those specific notes. So that's another quick way to access those and be able to review what notes were created right within the title that you're in. Continuing on with the notes, and I'll go through this entire left-hand chapter, pull-out menu as well too, just so you can see, so I can explain everything that's on here and accessible. But let me go to My Notes and Bookmarks first. As I mentioned, if you choose that highlight or bookmark icon, it will create a note. As I mentioned, if you want it to remain highlighted or not, you can choose either one. So once again, here are all the project tags that were used. If you wanted to filter those out, if you were looking for something specific across multiple titles, But as I go through here, you can see all of the different titles that I have created a note in, and multiple pages, everything will be shown there. But let me select the 2021 IRC. And as you can see, there's 8 notes here. You can do a couple things here. You could, for example, select these notes. You could print a PDF of your notes if you find that might have an application that you'd use that in a situation. You could generate a PDF, create the own title there. You could generate a PDF of notes across multiple titles too, selecting different ones if you wanted to be specific. Case use scenario there is we do have a mobile app that would allow you to download and access titles when you are offline. Of course, you would understand if you're totally offline, you wouldn't be able to access the notes that you've created on there, but this would be an example where you could create a PDF and still have your notes with you, where you could access the codes, code sections offline, and then have your notes with you. Migrate Notes is the other great feature with the note functionality. So as I select that, obviously, the 2024 cycle is going to be coming out in the near future. So every note that I created in this title, I would have the ability to move them. These two options, if I move them all the notes would be deleted in 2021, and I would move them to 2024 IRC. I think most people may want to choose to leave them in both sections. So if you clone them, it will leave a copy here in the 2021, and it will also take every one of these notes that your organization has created, during that cycle, and move them into 2024 as well too. And system is intelligent enough to know that if a code section number have changed slightly, it would attach it to the correct corresponding code section, even if the number is slightly different as well too. All right, I'll take a second to check the chat. All right. Some people had problem beginning with the audio in the video, so I'm glad that worked out. Always let me know with that. And no other questions at this point, so I will continue on. All right, let me demonstrate the advanced search features, and then I'll circle back around to those rectangles you see on the home page and go through all the content. So we do have the ability, if you were in a specific title, you could just search, for example, the 2020 on our IRC for any types of terms or keywords. I will use means of egress here, and it's searching across the entire premium library that I have. I'm sure you could guess that that term would return quite a large sample of results, almost 32,000. So you could, as I mentioned, start more narrow within a title, but just to kind of show you the power of how you can use this and relate down to the specific instance that you want to search for. Over here, we start probably the most logical order that you would narrow down. This would be the categories. So I'll choose, just the I codes. And that'll narrow it down. I'm just over 1,500, but as you can see here, you can search through the commentaries or specific locations, those titles as well too. And then probably the next custom definer here, it would be the year, the cycle. I'll choose 2021 just for the example. And that brings me down to just under 600. So I'll leave it here for a minute to kind of show you how you can get a high level view. But as I scroll down here over the left-hand side, any of those other definers that I had up there would show individual titles. So I could select, the IRC right from here and narrow it down even further there. If you're looking for something specific that's in a figure or a table, equations, you could really narrow it down and go right to there as well too. So I will leave it here for a second just to kind of show you, this would be all the results from all the 2021 iCode titles. And as you can see here, it's showing you what title it's pulling from. You can expand this out. It's called a breadcrumb trail, but you're able to see, okay, this one's IEBC, IBC, IFC, and you kind of get a preview of what the code section is explaining about means of egress there. So I could jump in right at the top of the title, top of the chapter, or the section or subsection. And as you click on that, it opens up a new tab, kind of nice, where you don't have to keep using the back button, but it jumps right to there where it has the means of egress search that you chose from there. So I'll close that out. If there's a search that you use frequently, you'd have the ability to save it. And these orange buttons over here gives you some more administrative tools that allow you to save it. If it's something you use frequently, then it'll appear over in your dashboard or your library there. I'll show you those shortcuts on the left-hand menu in a second here. Let me clear the search though and show you the advanced term search. So there are two different ways to search. This title bar that I put in there, just will search, do that general search across the library. But if you want to be even more specific, you can pull up the advanced term search tool here. And you're probably familiar with being able to search by having exact phrase, all the words, any or none. Those are kind of self-explanatory and you're probably familiar with. But what I'll show you here is the near-term search. So I'll use egress again, but let me put basement in there. And when I select this, the near-term search is going to search for those two specific terms that you've indicated, where they would occur within 50 words of each other in any code section. So that was a little bit more specific, brought down to 432 results. And, once again, you could refine that even more specifically using those different categories over on the left-hand side. So that's another way to search from as well. Let me clear that and go back to the home page. Excuse me. So the green boxes that you see here, we kind of organize all the different content that is available on Digital Codes Premium. This would include, like I mentioned, it will display everything that is available. I already mentioned the iCodes are available in a basic view, even if you don't have a license. Like I said, if you're communicating with local residents. There's other ones that would be included only with complete. The standards that we have listed here, iCodes obviously do reference many different standards. At the very minimum, it'll indicate where you can find, what standard it is, number and everything, so you can locate it. Many of the standards we have included in complete as well. There's also additional content that we've made available. Like I mentioned before, we do continue to add content at no additional charge incomplete. But as we expand our platform of content, we are adding more information in there as an optional add-on. So I'll point out a couple here, like the ASHRAE standards are not included in the Digital Codes Premium Complete license, but if it is something that you wanted to add on, you would have that ability. Let me jump over here real quick. There is a listing that you'll be able to find, and if I'll post this at the end too if you want to. If I forget, remind me, but this does list all the titles that are in Premium Complete. So as you can see, that's almost the 1,400 there. This is a dynamic counter, so as we add more content, it does change. If you're looking for something specific, you'll be able to, look for it there. The people frequently ask, what about the NFPA? That is not something that we have digitized on our platform, but if you're looking for something specific, you can search across all of those almost 1,400 titles for it. I'll scroll down here a little bit to show you some of the other sections. There is a recently added, as new codes are digitized, we put them on there so we'll be able to see what's recently added. And here's where I mentioned additional add-on that titles that aren't included with premium, but there's the ASHRAE standards, just as I mentioned. So, if it saves you some time to add additional content on there at another charge, it makes it easier for you to use within, having this single platform. I saw a question pop up about what content will be added. I guess I can generally state that the ICC is very interested in having as much content on there as we can, and that we are actively pursuing it. So the NFPA question that you just asked, we do not have it. I don't have a timeline of when it would be, but it was just using it kind of as an example. But that was kind of the nice feature too. As things are being added, we do make that big announcement, and we do post it over here. You see this red exclamation mark. If there's new content added, it'll be there. As an example of something that was being asked for quite frequently in recent times was the ASTM standards. So let me open that up and show you. This does have in its entirety 525 ASTM standards that are referenced in the 2021 I code. So you can choose any of these individual categories, and I'll open it up. And this would be an example where it shows where it was referenced. I'm sorry, I just popped up for a second what code section it was referenced in. And in this is a situation with our licensing agreement with ASTM. This is in like a read-only view, so you can't use the copy paste and make notes on it, but very convenient that it is in there in its entirety, not just a quick description of where the reference came from. So all the 525 ASTM standards are included with your Digital Codes Premium Complete subscription as well. So I want to point that out. There's a lot of standards in there. If you're looking for something specific, you can do that search or you can contact me or our customer service. The third box going across the top is the locations. As you can see, it's obviously mostly the states that we have here. We are working internationally with many countries as well, so those are available as they become digitized. And you're probably familiar, I mean, the model codes, all the states either adopt and use without changing them or they make amendments to them. It depends on whether or not that state has asked ICC to produce their content, their custom content, and have it available. California is an example of a state that has done that, New Jersey, New York. But as mentioned, when these custom or these state-specific codes are available and on our platform, it also does have the free basic view. So, service to the community where they can access that. But then as you're logged in with your subscription, these state codes will have those same icons that allow you to use the features that I went over and discussed previously. The commentary sections. This is probably the main reason why people love to get the complete, even if they just, for example, state specific. The state editions don't have the commentaries that the model codes do. So most of the people like to have these. Once again, this is in their entirety with previous cycles. Nice thing about this is that it is the code and commentary together. So if you are making notes in the I codes as you pull this up, I'll just kind of show you. You could actually use this title to reference the code not solely, but I mean this has the same content that the IRC has, but it also has the commentary added. And the commentary is indicated by, you see the little diamond at the start of the paragraph. But you could scroll through this by, as in like the regular code format, by hiding the commentary. So I just clicked the button. This is exactly what the IRC looks like without the commentary. And then if you wanted to expand it out, you have the diamonds there that indicate it. Code and commentary title here is not available in a basic view. So this is an advantage where if you were, communicating with the homeowner, you could include by copying and pasting that extra commentary there. Fair use of the copyright when you're, interacting with those individual residents one-on-one. You can do that. You can copy and paste it, so it still has all the same features that I was showing you with note making and the print and the copy and paste. Resources. It's kind of where we put here, probably those most obvious ones that'll pop out right there are the revision history, the significant changes. But we also, over the summer, had added study companions and flashcards. So if you're studying for the certifications, it's nice to have that. They both have the ability where you can make notes on it and use that if you're studying for anything. Topics, we kind of grouped some similar topics together here, indicated by the different titles there. And publishers, the same way we do add on specifics or some complete sets or available sets from specific publisher. If you want to peruse through there, you can as well. And collections, it's kind of self-explanatory, and there are quite a few of them. You could scroll through here, but you could see what the different type of collections are. As mentioned, if you're just looking for model codes, for example, you could select that as a collection. But as I said, if you start adding multiple collections or singles together, the Digital Codes Premium Complete would probably be your best bet to use. So I am on the home page again. Let me scroll down. Let me sign out real quick here too, because since I am signed in with an account, it did not show you the 14-day free trial. But if you are on that home page, if you scroll down a little bit, this is where you can start your free trial. As I mentioned, it doesn't require any credit card. You're just able to create your account right away. If you already do have an ICC account for our shop or any of our other websites, it is a single sign-on, so you only have to use um, one account login with that same email address. But as soon as you fill that out, you'll get a email to ask you to confirm your account creation, and then you'll have the ability to log in with your free trial and use that as well too. Scrolling down here a little bit more is the information on the mobile app. I'll spend a couple minutes on here, and as I mentioned, I'll try to wrap up here in the next 8 minutes, so we still got 15 minutes worth of questions to answer. Let me show you some screenshots. So this is a free app. You are able to access it with the free trial to try it out. And just to kind of give you an example, it is a nice, robust app. As you can see, you're familiar with what the screens look like from my demo right here. Even if I'm on a smaller iPhone, you can see how this is all laid out. So how this would work is, with our platform, you can access everything anywhere you have a browser. So it's not tied to a specific piece of hardware or a network drive. If you have a license for Digital Codes Premium, you can log in from your work computer, home computer, your iPad on the browser as well too. But you also have the access to the app. So the advantage where you might want to use this is if you are going out in the field, while you're logged into the app and attached to Wi-Fi, you can download up to 15 titles. They don't download to your your data files or so. They're downloaded to the app. So you'd open up the app and you could access any of those codes. You could create notes and view notes while you're still attached, either via Wi-Fi or data. Once you leave, for example, airplane mode, and you have no access to data, so you wouldn't be able to create or view your notes, which is why I mentioned being able to print your notes in a PDF if you wanted. But any title that you have downloaded, you will still have the ability to, as you can see, scroll through those different code sections and be able to access that. So that is available. There is no extra charge for it. It's something you can try out while you do have the free trial and see if that would be useful for you as well too. And I did see a couple questions pop up. Let me go back to that just to see. Is it better to use the free trial and perform a code review during the trial period? I mean, we encourage everyone to use the free trial and use it in a way that your department objectives are. And if it's a group of, like I said, if it's a group of people, and you're looking to see how many licenses you might need, best thing to do is have everyone try it at the same time so you can ask the questions. And another question here is about support, becoming familiar with the product. I am available, if you have your organization or department, a group of people want to ask specific questions on how it could be used with your specific objectives that you want to do it with. I do those as well too, and we can schedule those. And someone asked if the presentation is being recorded. Yes, it is. That will be available. Our great marketing department will clean it all up and send it out to you within a day or two after. All right, I think I'm still on schedule here. I did want to run through this left-hand side real quick and talk about how you can configure licenses. I should be done here in 5 minutes. First section here just repeats what you saw on the home page. Try to give you a couple different easy, convenient ways to access it. Let me sign back in so it's going to show everything. So on the left-hand side, these are all the same thing as the green rectangles on the home page. My library just shows your entire library. I'll click on it just so you can see. So shows any recently viewed favorites. I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning. If you click on, yeah, at the top of the title, there's an orange heart there. If you fill that heart in with a click, then it will appear in your carousel of the favorites. Um, Dashboard's pretty similar to my library, just kind of organizes a little bit differently. You may choose like one format better than the other, but once again, there's the recently viewed favorites, would appear in that same carousel. And as I said, we are always continuously adding new content. So if you want to see what was recently added to your subscription and what's available, those will display there as well too. And then here's where you could manage your project tags, edit them, change them, delete them if you wanted to as well too. Content search was just another way to access the search functionalities. My project tags has its own little category there, but as you can see, you can access that from a couple different areas. We did go through the notes in the bookmarks, the sharing history. We talked about any of those notes that you would share with anyone else in your group of licenses or outside. It would show that. And then the license configuration, I'll talk about as I do premium for teams here a little bit further down the list. Favorites, just another way to access any of those favorites that you had done. Just pops out from the left-hand side in that type of view. Premium features just goes back to our website basically and kind of quickly describes all the same sort of features that I have been explaining to you here. The webinars, I'll show you that real quick. As I said, I will send out, our marketing department will send out the this specific recording. We do put previous ones on here too, so if someone did miss it, you can always, direct them here to that website. This was my, where we go. There's the recordings. This is the upcoming ones, and then the webinar recordings down here. Don't need to see all of them. It's pretty much the same content. Just pick the latest one. All right, scrolling back through premium for teams. This is the question I probably should have left a little bit more time for, but let me just go through this real quick. So, as I mentioned, the big difference between having these concurrent licenses or enterprise seats is that the seats are dedicated. Only one person can be assigned a seat at the time. So a seat costs as much as a license. When you're looking at our calculators, you'll be able to see this and enter the number of licenses that you want in the terms. But just to let you know, if you were considering enterprise, it's the same price for a license or a seat. It's just that with the licenses, you can configure them to be shared where the seats that you couldn't. So let's just take, for example, I know people are going to ask this question at the end regardless. So if you had 10 people in your department who all need access to the codes, but may not be, needing access continuously during the day and won't be on there at the same time. Obviously, you have the option, you could get them each an individual license. Then they'd always be able to get on whenever they want. But if you're looking at, budgetary, reasons that you want to get less licenses or people aren't using them all day long for those 10 people, let's say, for example, you could get 3 licenses. You could make those 3 licenses into a concurrent group of shared licenses. So if you're sharing a license or you're getting an individual license, once again, it's the same price. You just get to determine how you want to configure it. So let's say you ordered 3 licenses. As the purchaser, they start out in your account as being an individual license, but you could take those 3 licenses and change them to be concurrent and put them in one group with a group name. And you would distribute that group name to the people that you would want to have access to it. You can share that with as many people as you want. Let's say those 10 people use those 3 licenses in the group. The limitation of simultaneous users would be the number of licenses. So that would be 3. So although 10 people could have access to it, only 3 could be on at the same time. Just to let you know that if when they leave that group, they can release the license by signing out correctly. I'll demonstrate that here real quick. So everyone creates their own login. You don't want to share ICC account information. It's a free account. Everyone creates their own, and once they're logged in, Just a simple second step, that concurrent icon right there. Once you've distributed the code, the first time they use it, it will show up as a previously used code, so they don't always have to remember it. I clicked on a previous code that I had in here before, and what you see, it's not my name anymore. It's using the name of the group so they know that they're in there. It is showing a single title, it shows the type of subscription of the group that they're in, and they can access this content that you have, put there. If it's the, premium complete license, then they'll have access to those 1,400 titles. When they're done, you see in this orange section here, they click here to exit the concurrent access. So if 3 people are logged in using all 3 licenses, when this person clicks out, as you can see, it shows they're out of the group. They have released that spot for someone else to use. And if someone forgets to click on that button or goes to lunch while logged in, there is a 20-minute auto log off, so they're not monopolizing a license. So just so you know that, they won't have it taken the entire day. Premium, and I'm going to try to wrap it up here for any questions and check on that too. The premium for Teams, I just kind of discussed. Revit add-in, I know you saw the blue bar across the screen there. There is going to be an announcement with more information about that for anyone using them. The Revit software, there's going to be an add-in for it. Recent updates would show you anything that was, recently put in here. So kind of interesting to see if there's anything new. It'll be listed there in Digital Codes Help. You asked a question about support. This is a kind of an overview. Maybe it'll get your specific question here, or it may be able to walk you through some questions that you weren't thinking of or how things work. Feel free to access the help there. Also, while you are on the site, if you have a challenge with something, you can open up the live chat with our customer support. You would just select the premium subscriptions here, and while you're doing other emails or on the phone, you could be having the chat there if it's a quick question that you would need to have answered. And then the feedback button here, anything that you would see that could be an improvement or how you're using it or any comments, we do read these and we do take the time. As I said, we're making refinements to our platform to make it better, more content, easier to use. So definitely submit your feedback to us. We do listen to that. All right, I'm going to open up the Q&As one last time. And the copying and pasting from can you copy and paste from a state amendment from your digital code account? Yes, you can. As I said, it depends. There's some states that don't use ICC. I guess I'll point out Hawaii. I remember that one. I mean, it'll show what model code cycle they're based upon, but they only post their amendments to their website. So here I am within California. Like I said, I got the same icons here I can make notes on. I have the ability to copy and paste, to use it in an email or however else you're using it as well too. And then I'll quickly mention too, since it is all web-based, you can access it from anywhere and you have all the same browser features. So if you don't want to be using that back and forward arrow, you can open it up in a new tab so you haven't lost your original document. As you see, when I hover over it, it gives you a quick preview of it. You also have the ability, just like in any web browser, I open it in a new window, I could slide it to my second monitor or use a split screen if you want to see things side by side as well. All right, I did promise to leave time for questions. What I'll also do is I'm going to select everyone. I don't know if you guys got muted. I'm going to allow everyone to connect to audio. Okay, I could leave everyone muted as well too. So I did allow everyone to use the microphone if they wanted. But I did I will wrap this up. I do appreciate everyone that took the time to attend. And I will put up my email so you can contact me as well too. But just wanted to point out the advantage of having everything digitized. I know with some people it is a transition to move into it, but the fact that you have the most up-to-date content available to you, it's not stuck on someone's bookshelf or on someone's truck. It's available to everyone. You can share those licenses, and it just moves us beyond the limitations that paper and PDF has been in the past, and it just allows the ability to collaborate and be effective as well too. So let me put up my contact information once again real quick, and I will continue to monitor the chat here. If you want to unmute yourself and ask a specific question, I think you can do that. If not, tell me in chat and I'll try it again. But thanks everyone for your time. There is my contact information, and I will stay on to the top of the hour if you got questions. Have a great day, everyone.